I'm going to take you through my progress for creating an original costume. I'm just gonna start this off by saying none of this is based on training or education. Just, I LARP, which is essentially an adult game of make-believe, so I was like, I'm gonna start making my own costumes, and I did the thing. With the help of my friends, my grandma who knows how to sew, and many internet tutorials. I know I'm going to look back on this once I've finally taken like an actual costuming course and cringe. But I mean, what is my channel if not a series of mistakes? So let's get into it. So I decided to document this costume progress for my Skull and Crossbones character because it was probably the most ambitious project I've ever decided to do. So let's go back to the beginning. So step 1, inspiration and concept. Watch movies, make a Pinterest board, doodle.
Big fat ugly bug-faced baby eating O'Brien? Aye.
When I was designing this costume, I actually watched the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I fell in love with the way Tia Dalma would like glide across the pirate ship. I just loved the way she stood out amongst the other pirates because of her full-length gown made of scraps of fabric. Like, she looked ghostly and elegant, and I knew that I wanted to base my costume off that. I like to think the point of my costumes is so someone can know something about my character without even talking to them. Because I'm actually really shy, and I don't talk to a lot of people. So I want to be able to make a name for myself just from my look. So after going off of Tia Dalma's scraps of fabric dress idea and many brainstorms and daydreaming sessions later, I came up with this idea for a girl who sews different wedding dresses together. And eventually that turned into the concept of a runaway bride turned pirate. And my costume worked out for me because at Skull and Crossbones nobody had to actually know my name or who I was. They just go, oh, you know, the bride from the Relampago, and everybody knew who that was. I also find a really strong concept also helps with the design of the costume because each piece can be a part of their story. Step 2, design! I did go to a costuming panel at one point in my life, and they said the most important thing when designing a costume is the color scheme. So pick 3 colors that you want your costume to be. Personally, I found the most important thing for a costume is the silhouette, because it's what really distinguishes your costume from anything else. And also the way you want your costume to move. So is it gonna be flowy? Is it gonna be stiff? Is it gonna be baggy? Is it gonna be form-fitting? Redraw at least 3 times and give yourself time in between each drawing to hate it. And by hate it, I mean like look at it long enough to be like, okay, I like this bit, I don't like this bit, keep the parts you like, throw away the parts that you don't like, and then start again. I did a lot of crappy anime drawings in high school, so I have like a little bit of art skill. Like enough to sketch out a concept at least. Some of my friends like Photoshop stuff together, others just make like an Amazon wish list, just as long as you have some kind of visual that you can follow along to. Also, when I was designing this, I was like, something's not quite right, so I ended up looking at historical clothing from the 1700s, and that's how I got the idea for these sleeves, and then I stuck these sleeves on it, and I was like, oh, there it is, now you look like a pirate. So I definitely suggest looking at historically accurate clothing from that era. Maybe not copying it, but at least getting inspiration from it. Hello. Step 3, sewing. So like I said, I was making a bit of an ambitious project. So for the first time, I tried making my own pattern for the pieces. I do not recommend this if you have not used sewing patterns before, so like you can know what a sleeve is supposed to look like when it's flat. If you've never sewn before, patterns are kind of like cookie cutters for fabric that come with, oh, I'm sorry, baby, that come with a tutorial on how to sew it together to make a garment. They will also be your best friend when learning how to sew. When I tried making my own pattern, I used garbage bags. I'd recommend it. It worked well for me. There's probably something better you can use, but I don't know, I'm on a budget. Cut it out, pin it together on yourself or your friend or a dress form, which by the way, best birthday present ever. This thing has been so helpful. Just make sure it doesn't look weird when it's all together, and if it looks weird, do it again. Never give up! Then the long progress of sewing it all together. This will take a stupid amount of patience, especially if you're doing it the right way, which usually I run out of patience to do that by the end of my costumes. I would just like pack stuff together by the end. I was like, oh, I just want it to be done! Sewing is a super complicated art with a lot of terminology and techniques, so I can't really cover it all in this video. But if you're wanting to learn how to sew, the best advice that I can give is just start. Like, borrow a friend's machine, get some cheap patterns online or at the thrift store, make mistakes, learn from them, measure twice, cut once. That's actually important. If you do not want to sew at all, use what you already have. Actually, when my grandma heard about my costume concept, she's like, oh, just take my wedding dress. It's been in my basement for ages. I was like, whoa, Grandma, that really stresses me out, but thank you. And after saying no thank you like 3 times, she's like, just take it. And I was like, okay. Thank you, Grandma. So this whole piece here is actually my grandma's old wedding dress. So take something older and make something new. Thank you, Grandma. I'm still really stressed out. Thanks for making me look awesome. If you don't want to do any crafting whatsoever, buying stuff's also a thing. This corset, way out of my skill level. So I actually bought it from Corset Story, and I just want to give them a little shout out because I originally bought the wrong size. I sent them a message being like, I know this is clearly my fault because I'm an idiot, but is there anything that you guys can do? And they're like, it's okay, idiot. Send it back to us. We'll send you a new one in the right size. We'll help you with your sizing. Also, there's a sale going on right now, so we can actually send you 2 corsets. Like, awesome customer service. They helped me even though it was really my fault. They were great. Thank you, Corset Story. Step 4, details. It is very important to work very hard on things that no one will ever notice. So that was kind of a joke, but details are actually very important because it's kind of like a good baseline in a song. Like, people don't really notice when they're there, but they notice when they're not there. A song without a baseline and a costume without details will feel empty, flat, simple. It adds depth to your costume, and believe me, effort shows. Like, it took me a stupid amount of time to sew on all these little beads and bows onto the side of my vest dress thing here. But the little bows are honestly like one of my favorite parts of the costume, so... This also includes distressing, so if you're making a costume for an adventurer that would spend a lot of time outside or trudging through mud, you might want to stain the bottom of your costume with some coffee or rip it up with some scissors or a cheese grater. Step 5, testing. This is especially important with LARP costuming or like any costuming that you're going to be moving around in. Walk around in your costume, and if after 10 minutes your leg starts to feel a little weird, good chance by the end of a full day, you're gonna want to rip your entire leg off because it's so uncomfortable. So if something's not right, if like a piece is falling off or something's uncomfortable, just take it off, readjust it. The best thing I have learned how to do is wash your costume in a washing machine. First of all, if it can survive a washing machine, it can survive a day of moving around. And also, it is extremely helpful to make costumes that can be washed in washing machines. Some of my earlier costumes got like embarrassingly, disgustingly smelly because I was scared they would fall apart in the washing machine. I'm a garbage human being, what can I say? Step 6, take a selfie. I think about this scene from Over the Garden Wall whenever I make a costume.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Because that is literally my progress. This step isn't a joke, by the way. You worked hard on something. You created something. Be proud of what you created. Like, it's so important to give yourself credit for your work. So bask in your glory in the mirror for as long as you want. Take selfies. If you have a friend that knows how to use a camera, do a photo shoot. I did this little photo shoot with my friend Ishkan, who you can follow him on Instagram. This is his thing. Wow, he very talented, very good, good job. Then maybe your photos will turn up on Pinterest and inspire somebody else to create something brand new. So yeah, that is my simplified step-by-step for how I make all of my costumes. I absolutely love it when you guys send me costume pictures of yours on Twitter. So if you're proud of something, be sure to send it to me. Social medias, somewhere. Yeah, that's it. If you want to subscribe, that'd be cool. It's social media, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's it.